I'm a thrower when I'm angry. Welcome to my cozy corner of the internet. My name is Delilah, and today I would love to talk about how to be with and process your anger. In The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron writes, "Anger is fuel. We feel it and we want to do something. Hit someone, break something, throw a fit, smash a fist into the wall. Tell those bastards. But we are nice people. And what we do with our anger is stuff it, deny it, bury it, block it, hide it, lie about it, medicate it, muffle it, ignore it. We do everything but listen to it." Anger is meant to be listened to. Anger is a voice, a shout, a plea, a demand. Anger is meant to be respected. Why? Because anger is a map. Anger shows us what our boundaries are. Anger shows us where we want to go. It lets us see where we've been and lets us know when we haven't liked it. Anger points the way, not just the finger. Anger is our friend. Not a nice friend, not a gentle friend, but a very, very loyal friend. It will always tell us where we have been betrayed. It will always tell us when we have betrayed ourselves. It will always tell us that it is time to act in our own best interests. Anger is not the action itself. It is the action's invitation. Before we continue, I would like to make a disclaimer that I'm not a doctor nor a therapist. Everything that I'm sharing today is based on my own experience healing my relationship with anger. Attempting to avoid anger. Starting with people pleasing. I have a pattern of people pleasing, which is also codependent behavior. This fear of abandonment, fear of rejection would result in me people pleasing to keep people around me all the time. And you might be wondering, what does people pleasing have to do with anger, Delilah? In order to get along with everybody else, I had to neglect my own wants and my own needs. And this would generate a natural anger at myself. And I didn't know this at the time. But what would happen when I would feel angry, it was like a landmine. And instead of letting it explode, I was conditioned to never feel angry and never speak up about my needs and my wants. So what did I do with that landmine? I dug a little hole and buried it there. Eventually, this did not work anymore because I found myself completely surrounded. Just imagine you're on this little island and there's nowhere that you can step where you do not set off an angry landmine. Consequences of not addressing your anger. I was so anxious and walking on my own eggshells all the time because people could feel my anger, feel my temper, and would have to figure out how to navigate around me, when in reality, it was my responsibility. And now looking back, I can recognize that my people-pleasing behavior caused a lot of internal anger that I was holding because I was allowing people to step all over me like a doormat. I eventually hit a breaking point or a tipping point where I realized I could not move. I could not do anything without the fear of setting off these landmines. And what happens when you set off a landmine next to another landmine? They all go off. And that was one of my biggest fears, was to have this giant explosion that I knew on some level was coming. I was about to erupt like a volcano. And it took everything in me to suppress and repress that. Truthfully, I feel like during those moments were probably my depressive episodes where I completely shut down because all my energy was being used up to not trigger myself. Whew, that was really hard to say. Okay, not only was I paralyzed with the fear of setting off these landmines, but Honestly, the anger was like seeping out of me, and it manifested in very passive aggressive behavior. And I say that with a heavy heart because I can't imagine how I made other people feel when I was like that. Not taking care of your anger, people around you will suffer too. They could feel the fire, they could feel the heat. I just didn't know what to do with it. And I probably made them all feel really awful. On some level, I projected the blame outwards because I just didn't have the tools to be with my anger. So self-forgiveness. A big part of the journey for me is to be able to have compassion and self forgiveness for the mistakes I made in the past, be able to learn from them and sit with them. Know that, look, I cannot change my past, I can only learn from it. So it's still really hard to think about all the people I have hurt and how my anger affected others. I know that I'm human and this is all part of the human experience. I was never taught how to be with my anger and how to process my anger, but now I am learning. And so I would love to be able to share what I have learned with you. Recognizing your emotions. First up, we have this feelings wheel. If anyone is interested in these pillowcases, I will link them down below. You just have to buy the inserts that go inside of them. And so let's talk about anger and how these layers really help me understand what's going on. What I've noticed in myself and even with others in the language that we use, a lot of these words out here are often used to describe how we feel. I feel resentful. I feel furious. These can be very intellectualized feelings. Another word for that is like pseudo feelings, intellectualized version of that emotion. And oftentimes that helps us from feeling the emotion if we're afraid of it. What's really important is to go down another layer, for example, feeling bitter, mad, frustrated, let down, and then come to the emotion of anger. And again, nothing wrong with anger. There are very many ways to process anger in a healthy way. And for me, anger wants to communicate something. Either I am neglecting my own needs and wants, or someone else is crossing a physical or emotional boundary, and anger wants me to address it. And in the past, I just never understood the language of my emotions. Yeah, if you can relate to intellectualizing your feelings like me, please comment down below. Again, it takes a lot of courage to be able to like root it down and be able to say that you're angry. Locating it in your body. Now, once you can say that you're angry, can you feel it in your body? So this is, oh, here we go. So this one is an emotion sensation wheel. This is one example of how things show up kinesthetically or somatically. What kind of ways does anger show up? Look, you can have mad, and that's like a flushed feeling, aggressive, heart racing. For me, when I'm afraid, my heart races as well. Yep, that's there. Tight jaw, numb, feeling hot, that comes up for me. So being able to notice where that is in your body or what it's doing. Patience with the process. Taking the time to build the skill to really notice and be aware of your anger, being able to go from that mental, intellectualized version of understanding anger to really being able to feel it in your body. Different tools that can help with that is journaling what's currently happening and how you are feeling, and being able to name the emotions that are there. Anger shows up to be able to tell us that a boundary violation has happened. So either you are crossing your own boundaries and not taking care of your own needs, accounting for your own feelings and desires, or someone else is violating a boundary, emotional or physical, and what you can do about that. Either setting a boundary, maybe it hasn't been discussed, maybe this is not a safe person for you to be around. And there's my husband coming in from the garage. Practical ways to process anger. Now that we've identified, recognized, and acknowledged our anger, where do we go from here? For me, I learned that anger was a very physical thing. So moving my body, getting a lot of this energy out was the best way for me to slowly set off all those landmines so that I could be free from all the different ways I could set myself off with anger. Different ways. I have a little list here. I feel so organized. Here are some healthy, practical ways to release and express anger that's stuck in your body. The first thing, though, is to give yourself permission to be angry. If you're still resisting the anger, this isn't going to work. You have to give yourself full permission to let it all out. One of the ways is through dance. So I had taken this anger and emotional release workshop before, and the facilitator would play like rage songs, and we would all just like stomp around and dance around our rooms to get the anger out. Some people took like a baseball bat to like a pillow, I think like a plastic one. One time I even took a broom to my husband's like heavy bag, and that felt so good just to like hit something. Another way is to throw a tantrum. So get on your bed, pretend you're a 3-year-old and just squirm around. And again, music is very helpful to just get you in that energy and just let this release out of your body. What else do I have here? Throwing things. So I'm a thrower when I'm angry. And so what I've done in the past is taken my dog's plush toys and just whip them at the ground. I've also seen someone throw ice, throwing eggs at a tree, and that way it can like decompose and feed nature. If you're lucky enough to have a rage room where you live, go ahead and make a solo date for yourself. Maybe bring a friend, bring some things that you want to smash, and have at it. It is so fun and so great for stress relief. I also learned that I'm a screamer. So when I'm in one of those rooms, I am wailing. I'm just letting that all out of my throat chakra, all the words that I didn't say to people, all the times I did not stand up for myself, all the ways that I did not set boundaries. I just, screamed it all out there. It feels so good. There's almost like a buzzing that happens after, and again, the energy is moving through your body. A couple more methods I've used to release anger, and one is attending a breathwork class. I feel like breathwork is just a great way to really reset our nervous system, get us to get that oxygen into our system. And I've noticed, anger really shows up when I'm not letting that conscious mind really repress the anger. And lastly, writing and destroying what I wrote has been really healing for me as well. One time I took a Sharpie to a painting and just wrote profanity all over it, similar to the burn book in Mean Girls. But again, no one is meant to see this. I'm just writing out all the raw, real words that just want to come out of my system and want to be expressed. Do whatever it is that you need in a safe way where you're, 1, not hurting anyone, 2, also not hurting yourself. Let it out, honey. Put it in the burn book. Writing a letter and then furiously like ripping it up, or maybe even doing a burn ritual. That's helped me in the past as well. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening and allowing me to share my story and the things that I've learned. If any of the tips are useful, or you've tried them, or you have tips for other people, please go ahead and comment down below. Until the next video, stay cozy and stay curious, or stay curious and stay cozy. I can't remember what I said last time, but anyway,